open houses and how they should be held. That's today's program, today's podcast for you guys. I was having a conversation with a realtor who, not part of our brokerage, over the weekend, and they were telling me about the experience that they had at an open house that they held. And it was funny because the community that I had previously visited, so I kind of had the background of the community itself. And they were telling me that one of the reasons why they wanted to start hosting open houses was simply because they've heard that a bunch of buyers are just walking in without realtors. It was all awesome. They could just wait there. They could pick up a buyer, throw them on a contract, make some money, right? Easy peasy. Well, they didn't get not one walk-in that day when they were at that open house. So I asked them questions. I was like, okay, well, why do you think that happened? Well, I don't know. I was like, well, what's the price range? 5 to 6. Okay, 5 to 6. Do you think that sounds like a first-time home buyer? Well, no. Okay, so then if the statistic is that it's first-time home buyers who are walking in without realtors, then why would you host an open house without any prior marketing to it, expecting first-time home buyers to walk in at a price range where it's not first-time home buyers? I was like, hey, did you talk to the sales rep there like I did? And the sales reps had told me that the people who come in here already have a realtor and they're already in the process of selling their home. They're coming here to upgrade. It's not people from out of state. It's not people from out of town. It's usually within the same little neighborhoods that are coming to that particular master plan community to upgrade. So even if a client did come in, 9 times out of 10, they already had a realtor who was selling their house. And then I started talking with them, picking his brain a little bit. And I was like, don't you think it would have been a smarter idea to go door knock the communities to tell them to come visit you while you're there, instead of just waiting there and waiting for somebody to walk in? So all of that got me thinking to, how do you actually choose where to do an open house if it's not your personal open house, right? And you do want to generate clients. Like, what is the proper way to strategically do an open house? And what does that look like?
Sticking to what we teach here at our brokerage and the way we do business is, if you're marketing your area, you're going to be in those price points that your area is in. So if you're an entry-level area with low $200,000, $300,000 homes, $100,000 homes, that's just what's going to be on the area, right? Now, if you're in a higher-end area where, the community establishes a $700,000 community, then you're able to invite those people to your open house and establish your brand as the authority there, because you're going to be seen as the guys that have the listings and the opportunities in those areas. So I think that having a plan is always important. We talk about it all the time here, that if you don't have a plan, then you're planning to fail. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it goes. So what do we look for when you're hosting an open house, and what is the right way to host an open house? I'd like to ask you guys here to get your opinion on it. What does an open house mean to you guys? I mean, what is the importance of it? What could that do for you?
I mean, as a listing agent, whenever you're hosting an open house for your listing, it's basically like opening the door for somebody in the area that might be interested. If you already did some marketing for the open house, I mean, you are hoping to get somebody, one of those people interested, and them coming to see the house. But it's just not basically just scheduling the open house and being there. It's a lot more work than that. Just not, you have to, like you said, game plan and do the advertising to host the open house.
For sure. And
right now, and I think you've touched on this before, or you've been touching on this, real estate agents are lost. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for the next thing to do in this industry. And you see a lot of seasoned realtors and even some new brokers, right, that they get online and they just randomly post videos and say, if you want to make money, host an open house every weekend, right? And it's like, okay, sounds great, but just like Jovani was saying and how you were saying, there's a method to an open house. There's a strategy. There's ways of doing it, and it's funny because I just came back from McAllen this weekend, right? I went down there, and we have our office down there, and they have open houses over there. Their open houses are actual like events. They have I think it was so funny they did
cumbia and stuff.
They what?
Like cumbia?
No. They did some kind of knockoff. They did some kind of knockoff to Cars and Coffee. They did a Cars and Carajillo open house, which was
Okay.
it was pretty interesting.
What is
right?
a carajillo?
Carajillo is like
drink.
it's coffee like with
Like the Colombian
liquor
coffees?
No,
and-
with liquor 48.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of like to pick up your.
They did caballos y café.
Hey, that actually sounds good for me.
I
kinda like that.
I kind of like that.
So but one of my realtors was like, hey, well, I was gonna invite you to go to this open house because all the realtors are gonna be there, and I'm like, okay, who's gonna be there? Well, it was a lot of popular realtors that are famous on Instagram down there in the valley, and I'm like, okay, so we're gonna go to an open house, right, with all the popular realtors from the valley. If somebody walks into that open house and wants to buy a home, do you think they're going to speak to you? Said no, they're going to speak to the person that is the personality on social media. I said it's a great idea, right? It sounds great on paper, how they say, but what we're looking for, when we're hosting an open house is buyers. That's what we're interested in. That's what we want to get to.
I was gonna say that sounds more like a broker's open instead of an
for sure.
open house.
So that's the thing is that it wasn't specified. I don't think
At least our brokers open have Lamborghinis.
that thing.
Shout out to my boy Manuel. Yeah.
Hold on. I know that they had some luxury cars out there.
Hold on. Let me tell you something real quick.
And you was
They had.
BMW.
Let me tell you something real quick. They
Even
had.
the M series.
They had multiple Lamborghinis down there, bro. I mean, it wasn't no
The Diablo?
It wasn't a Lamborghini SUV. It was actual Lamborghini and Ferraris,
But I
and it
think
was
the
great.
Lamborghini SUV is the actual Lamborghini, no?
I think it's more expensive.
I think the SUV Lamborghini is more an Audi, no?
I think they
they're-
all share those parts.
So the thing is this, okay? Like you said, that was not a broker open house. It wasn't specified as a broker's open house. It was just said open house. So it was open to everybody, and a lot of people went. But once again, we're not interested in every realtor showing up there. We're not interested in people browsing and looking at the beautiful house. We want buyers. We want people that are going to come in there that want to buy a home, that want to find out how they can get a home. And that's what we have. That's how you set up.
So
an
let
open
me
house.
jump in there. So and just to build on that point that Nate's talking about, what we teach here at the brokerage specifically is most of the time when people move, they have kids because they've outgrown their home, or they're looking to upsize. Maybe they've had some issues with their neighbor, whatever the reason is. 9 times out of 10, they want to stay in that same school zone, same school district, same schools. They don't want to move. So if you have an open house in this high value area, you want to identify maybe the lower, smaller lots, smaller homes in that same school district that your house is zoned to, and target those clients. So when we talk about specific targeting in those areas, they want to upgrade in those same communities. I worked in a community called Panorama Village. It's its own little city. And I was shocked by the amount of people that just wanted to upgrade their home. They didn't want to leave the neighborhood village. They wanted to stay there. So they wanted to go to the same schools, same area, same bus route. I never thought about marketing the older section when I started there initially. Never thought about doing that. That community had a golf course community, had its own police department, its fire station, everything. I hosted an event with the fire station there, and I realized that there was a lot of neighbors interested in upgrading. It was crazy to me, considering the older homes had bigger lots, they were on the golf course, and it seemed like a beautiful home to me. I appreciated the architecture and the old style, and it just felt great. But those people wanted the new home. They were older. They didn't want the maintenance. They were just wanting, they didn't want the yard maintenance. They didn't want the home maintenance. They didn't want any of those things. So really knowing your area in the communities that you're hosting these open houses, identifying where more than likely those clients have come from is going to be key to your success in an open house. If you put the time in and you prepare, then you're able to host a successful open house. If you don't, then you're going to fail.
And just real quick, you just reminded me about Panorama Village. I haven't thought about that in a long time. You're thinking of a township, right? That had maybe 4 inventory homes that had sold 1 home a year for the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then across the street, you had a brand new development of D.R. Horton homes that were just throwing up these houses, right? And Vick went in there and sold out the inventory that they had. They started to finish out the section that they had, and they even started buying a new section for Vick to sell in. Okay, and that came from salesmanship. Vick went in there and sold himself, sold the builder, and sold the community to, and like you were saying, sold to everybody out there. You know, just gave them a new breath, or made them see the neighborhood differently, to where it became a successful community. And you know, and that's done by being a salesman, not a consultant. So yeah, that's definitely something, you know, one of the things that I really admire and I always bring up about Vick is that he doesn't care what everybody else is doing. He only cares about what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the ways that, because right now what we're talking about is asking, finding the right house and make sure you're talking to the right people for that house itself. And for a lot of realtors who don't have their own listings right now, and they're open to go and hosting open houses at new communities, and these new communities are more than happy to have somebody go and sit there for them, right? Now, the conversation I was having with this realtor was that they were like, okay, well, how do I figure this out? Like, how did you find that out from a sales rep? And I was like, well, I just talked to them. But they were like, I talked to them, and they just told me, yeah, you can come and host an open house. And I was like, well, you're not asking the right questions. And like, well, what is the right questions? And it took me some time, because I feel like me and Vick had this conversation a while back, even myself. And I was like, oh, that's what he meant. But I figured it out while I was out there, because I just had to put enough time in. But it was the fact that he wasn't asking the right question. And what he was asking is, oh, yeah, you know, can I come and host an open house? You know, you have people coming in? And they were telling him, of course, they can tell you yes. The community's busy. And that's what I told him. I was like, first of all, the first person who come and tells you that the community's busy, like one of the sales rep, the more than likely you find another sales rep to talk to, because they're either don't know and they're new and they really don't know that much information about the community. But a sales rep who knows their worth and who knows the clientele is coming in, they're gonna tell you what kind of client is moving here, so you can have an idea of who to bring here. That was the first person that sales rep told me. He was like, man, most people here are upgrading. They even told me all 4 communities. So from speaking from that one sales rep, I knew which communities to go door knock if I wanted to host an open house there, and which communities I wanted to market to get them to come over here. And I was like, what I would have done is on the MLS is pulled up the history 5 to 8 years back, somebody who bought in those communities surrounding it, go door knock them, invite them to come and watch the game at the open house, or bring some food for them and come get some coffee and take a look at the community. Because if somebody who comes here already 9 times out of 10 has a realtor, even if they come here and they meet you, they're already working with somebody to sell their house, right? So you have to ask the right questions. And Vick, I think I would like to leave this to you before we go to the next part. What does it look like to actually ask the right questions to a sales rep to figure out who's going there?
What we teach is discovery, right? Everybody's going to give you the answers that you're looking for if you ask those right questions. And it comes down to a simple process for me. When you're asking a question, people are going to respond with immediate objections. They're going to tell you yes, no. I mean, they're going to tell you no. They're going to give you buts. They're going to give you every obstacle that they can. Your rebuttals and how you respond to their objections, it's going to guide the conversation in the way you want it to go. So if you're not getting the right answer, which if you don't know how to ask what type of people are coming, then that is just in general. That's the legwork, and realtors don't take their business serious enough to do that legwork, to take the time to establish the market, to figure out what kind of questions to ask. That is a Google question. What kind of questions would I ask a sales rep to give me more information about the market? Google's going to give you 1,000 different responses there. You're going to pick the ones that are best suited for you and your sales approach. From those sales approach, you start crafting a script on how you want the conversation to go. I want to figure out what type of people are coming here. So I blatantly can't ask what type of people are coming here. I would talk to them, and there's a process as far as getting to know the sales rep, identifying what's important to them so you can get to know them, and then from there you get to ask. So you got to build value, right? Build value in what you're doing and what you offer. I take care of my clients really well. I'm there for them. I'm great at Spanish speaking. I have a loan officer that's great at down payment assistance. Whatever the situation is, you provide some sort of value there. Once they find value in you, then they're willing to give you information that they feel can help improve your business. So you need to create your profile. You need to establish who you are as an agent and what you bring to the table. Then you need to be able to sell yourself to that person so they can believe in you. Once they believe in you, then they're willing to give you the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah. And I feel that I feel it's a lost art, right? And it's a lost art that I keep blaming social media for, right? And that's just building a relationship.
Yes.
And not just building a relationship with your buyer or your seller, but build a relationship with the sales counselor. You don't understand how many sales counselors are just sitting out there in these model homes, and when you walk in there, they probably haven't seen somebody in all day, and then they sit with you, you talk to them, you ask about them, you bring them a cup of coffee, you invite them out to eat, and when they're working a deal, they will call you. And I will tell you this, I used to let realtors go through my contact list, and say, hey, call these people. I was talking to this guy, we didn't hit it off. Maybe you can, and you'd be surprised how you can become an ally to a sales counselor really quick.
Yeah, when I was a sales counselor, I felt that I was the best, and I carried that attitude. And when realtors are coming to my office, 9 times out of 10, I didn't want to hear from them, and I didn't really care to build the relationship early in my career. And as I got into more of these difficult communities, I realized the importance of having a good realtor that was willing to do a lot of the legwork that I couldn't do myself. Somebody has to man the office while somebody goes and does that legwork. So when you're partnering with realtors that share that vision, then you're able to go. Now, here's the tricky part now, is that back then when I started in the business, there were seasoned sales reps. There were sales reps that had been in the game for some time. So they knew the game. Mm-hmm. And if somebody was kind enough to share some of the game with you, then you took it for what it was. You took your training on spot, on demand, right then and there. The problem with today is that not only do the realtors know how to build relationships, the sales rep don't realize the importance of building a relationship with the realtor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now more than ever, you have to sell yourself and sell the vision to the sales counselor and what you're going to do for them. And that's why I'm telling you got to provide the value now. And sometimes you're going to have to give them that game plan. If you're not with the brokerage that can,
that's right.
If you're not with the brokerage that can do that for you, then you're not at the right place.
And the sales counselors are confused. You walk in there and you're like, hey, look, I could do this, I could do that. They're like, how? What are you talking about? What do I need you for? And you like you just said right now, you literally have to give them the game plan. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, they start having an aha moment, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, let's do it. Let's work this out.
Definitely. I feel like now, compared to whenever I started in the business, the way the sales reps also, treat us realtors is completely different. I feel like,
night and day.
Before, whenever at the tail end of COVID, I feel like they saw you more as being their competence instead of, you being like their ally that, we can do business together.
We used to do events. We used to invite realtors to the open house, to the model homes, and feed them and give them gifts and give them TVs and do all kinds of stuff for them, because we understood that realtors were the ones that were bringing us these buyers. But like you said, right now, new home sales counselors treat realtors like almost like the competition,
Yes.
and that's not it. We bring something totally different to the table when it comes to sales. But I will tell you what not to do whenever you're meeting a sales counselor for the first time. First of all, don't walk into a sales counselor's office and say, hey, put me on a deal. That is the worst thing that you can ever ask any sales counselor. Okay? That's one. Okay? And second, right? Don't walk into a sales counselor's office and waste their time with your long sob story or your long-winded story about you. Go in there and find out about them, about their community, about what they have, what kind of problems they've been having out there. It's really easy to learn their market and help them and become an ally.
Yeah. People like to talk about themselves at the end of the day, and the more you can get somebody to talk about themselves, and the better you're doing at your job as a salesperson. Right? You want to get to know them and their frustrations and how you can help them overcome whatever things they're dealing with. So to end in short, what advice I'd give you to talk to a sales counselor and how you can find those answers? There's an acronym that we learned and that I love and that we implement, and it's the SWOT, right? Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. Right? What strengths do you have? What weaknesses does the community hold? What opportunities do you see? And what's a threat to you and your marketing plan? So if you are anything like me, that you feel that if you give anybody the game plan, they feel that they're going to take it and run, some sales counselors may attempt, and some people have tried to do it to us. They take our plan, they take our SWOT analysis, and they go do their own at a way smaller scale because they don't have the want. They don't have the tenacity. They don't have the ambition. They don't have everything that we have that pushes us to be great.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
So don't be scared to give your plan. Use the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. Identify those. Establish what that community is lacking in and how you can fill those voids for them. And I guarantee you, anybody would love to work with you. I would have loved that myself as a sales counselor. So
Yeah, definitely. And I think my pro tip for the day is the first time you go to a new community, don't walk in asking just to shoot content. They've already got played out with roads. And there's nothing wrong with shooting content. I go out there and I shoot content all the time. But your first meet should be to get to know the community, to get to know them, ask them what they need help with, how you can help in the area, any new events coming up. Really do your work to get to know the area and be honest with them. If they ask you have a client and you don't, be like, I don't. There's plenty of neighborhoods that I go to because I go everywhere. I don't have a client for every single neighborhood. But the more you know about the neighborhood, the more you can pitch it to other people or find a client who is looking for something and that neighborhood fits them particularly and they didn't even think about it. So be honest with the sales rep. Try to get as much information as possible about the community itself. And then on the second or third time you go back out there and you built the relationship, then talk about shooting your videos. You're going to fall in line with every other realtor if the first time you go there is asked to shoot a video because that's what everybody's doing. There's nothing wrong with it, but build your connection first with that sales rep. And I think that's where we're going to cut off this podcast today. I wanted to give you guys some quick advice on how to do an open house. I think we'll do more podcasts like this, nice, quick, and short for you guys, give you the information that you need. And this is HBR, Houston Business and Real Estate. I'm Jovani, your gracious host, and I'm going to let my guests here exit out.
Flor Velasquez with Lionsgate Realtor. You can find me on all my social medias, Flor Velasquez Realtor.
I am on Instagram now on a new name, and it is called Real Presidente. And if you saw my Presidente logo, it was pretty cool, and I got a lot of Dominican followers. So thanks for that, Jaden. I appreciate it.
I was wondering what that was. I was like, okay.
It looks like pizza to
Dominican
me.
beer, right?
I was looking for the Presidente, the tequila, the brandy, whatever it is. And,
Brandy.
you know,
Brandy.
obviously my
Get it right,
knowledge...
brandy.
My knowledge is not that great. You know, when I drink anything in Mexico, it's a tequila to me.
And I'm Nate Balderas. You can find me on all my social media outlets at Better Call Nate.
I already exited. Until next time.